And we are live. I hope everyone's doing good. I just jumped in a little early just to make sure that I'm here waiting for you guys instead of you guys waiting for me. It's happened a few times. Don't want that to happen again. So thank you guys so much for coming in. If you're early, jump on into the stream. Let's see. Let's make sure I don't have my own stream up because I've had that happen before. And then I hear the audio in the background. And we are live. Okay. Awesome. Check the live. All right. I'm going to be watching the chat up here. See what's going on. Actually, I could probably move the chat. Let me move the chat where I can actually see it on a regular basis. I don't know why it's doing that now, but there it is. So there. Now someone shoots into the chat. I should be able to see it. All right, guys, what's going on? How you feeling? It is January. Man, cold. January 27th, Monday morning. The Dow has crashed 500 points, but since recovered slightly. And we have a lot to talk about. So let's get off my big screen and let's get into the news. What's going on? I got the chat here. Try to keep the chat so I can see it more clearly. You can even see it kind of here. I'll see the chat more, but here we go. Okay, so getting into it. The first thing I said is Bitcoin has a rally, and that's true. So let's go into Lifer here, Crypto Lifer 1, and we'll check in what I watch on a daily basis. I have many different tickers, many different things I'm going through, and here we go. Now, Bitcoin up $174, $147. If you can see, I had this triangle drawn, and I said if we can break out of this triangle, we will have a 9,300, basically 9,430 target. So my target's up here at Bitcoin at 9,430, and I was showing you what you could make on that. If you played the bottom of that trend line, a nice 11% gain. So we're still waiting on that. We're about a little bit through. We need to break through this heavy resistance here. And you can see the VPVR, a lot of buying and selling. We're kind of landlocked here at 8,700. That's great, though, because I like to feel that landlock. Since we were down here, we bounced back up. And you can clearly see with my white lines, what are these white lines? Why do I draw them? These white lines are what's called support and resistance. I make every line you see here on the chart. Anything but just price action and these oscillators, everything else you see. I don't make these here, but I make everything here. I add these 5 moving averages. I have the 21 day, the 50, the 80, the 100, and the 200. And how they interact with each other tells a story. So what you want to do is, the first thing I'm looking at is price action. And I'm putting a white line by hitting Alt-H, which is the same in Coinbase or TradingView. I'm hitting Alt-H and creating a line here where I see that the price is hit many times. So we hit here, we came back, hit here. That's a line. That's resistance. You can see that we clearly didn't make it through that point. So we have resistance at 9,400, a lot of resistance. So from there, you start building a map, you know. Then you can see we bounced here off this point. We came close. 7,700 is a very 7,750 area. That dip buy, sometimes, you know, we dip in, but we come back in. So you can see that's like market manipulation there. Here's another market manipulation. Here we have another strong line of support here at 6,890, 6,900. So as we're building more and more support, you can see what's going on for the long term. I still see us in an uptrend. If you can see all the way here from this low at 3,100 low, you draw a line here and take it from me. A lot of people don't get confused when I draw this line. Oh, but Bitcoin's blah, blah, blah. But as you can clearly see, we're in an uptrend. We're in an uptrend. I think the bear market was over a long time ago. Other people say, no, there's more suffering coming, 1,000 Bitcoin. I disagree. I disagree thoroughly. And even if that was the case, it would be comparable to market situations. And I still think you're better off owning Bitcoin than the US dollar. I love the United States. I was born here, born and raised, third generation. And I'm from Boston, like the place where we won our freedom, the Revolutionary War. A lot of things came on. I am more American than apple pie. I'll tell you that right now. But I'm telling you right now, the American dollar is not American. It's a manipulative piece of currency that is not real money. It's not hard money. It has nothing backing it. And it's very close to collapsing completely, in my opinion. I don't put a lot of stock in it. I was saying cash is trash a long time ago, before Ray Dalio had his news clip, sent all over the world and everyone said what he said. He's been saying the same things. I'm not saying he just jumped on the train, but what I want to say is you know, Ray Dalio has been saying these same things that I've learned, and I learned them on my own. Okay, I don't get this from somebody else. I learn these things on my own. So what I'm in is I'm in a Bitcoin trade, and you can see my Twitter account. If you go to my Twitter account at CryptoLifer33, it's a good caveat, and I add a lot of different things to what's going on into the market and into the time these days. And if you just go over to my profile, you can see my tweets. I just bought 22K worth of Bitcoin, stop loss 7,024 if everyone wants to know. This is a January 7th. So I'm still up $1,700 on that trade. And if you bought more than one Bitcoin, you can times that by how many Bitcoins you bought, and therefore. I just purchased Atom at USD 471. What I did is I laddered in many different times, and some worked, some didn't. So let me just tell you my Atom story right now if you want to trade Atom. We're going to get into the gold, we're going to get to the markets, but I just want to show you exactly why I'm trading Atom. Now, Atom directly correlates to Bitcoin. I've been noticing them. They play off almost identical. I can even show you here we have a W, which is a double bottom. And then look at Bitcoin. We had a W, double bottom. Bitcoin played out more. It had a little more of a move up to the upper side. We did have this big move up here to 458.8, and we got sold back down to 455. We're still holding, and I still see this pattern here. Came up, came down, fell through, came back. Hit it off the top, hit off the bottom. We're really holding support here at this 437. In my mind, this is the buy zone, okay? This is the buy zone. Accumulation, just keep accumulating Atom in this area, in these 440 range. And finally, what I did today is I took a screenshot of my trade instead of showing my whole account, just to show you I put my money where my mouth is. Crypto Lifer 125.20 here at 1:05 p.m. I went in for $2,000 with 453 shares of Atom, bought at around 439.99. I also bought another one at 441, another $1,000. So I'm in the game for $3,000. Technically up $100 right now, 3.8% on one and 3.4% on the other trade. Going better, actually up 3.5% and actually 3.5 and 3.1 in total. So we're up about 3% on a $3,000 trade. So that's about $100. 10% would be $300. And I see that as the bottom. I see big potential coming as this comes down and makes another leg up. It is in an uptrend. The trend's your friend until it's not. We just need to see it break these resistance points. Let's get my VPR. It takes a little while. So that's why sometimes I don't like to use it. The VPVR is also showing us at 428, heavy buying and selling. And we're also seeing this area here is just letting you know that there's a lot of support here on this white line that I drew at 440. So what I want to see is, what I did is I drew this trend line when we were around here, and I was hoping that we would bounce around here, but we didn't. We came harder. We did see the 21-day moving average break below these three moving averages, but now it's curving up. You see it? It made a curve up, which is, I think it's going to save it from crashing through the 100 and the 200. We also see the price bouncing off the 200. So we have confluence here with the 200-day moving average, price directly bouncing off it. That's how you know traders were trading on it. Another thing I could look at sometimes is just to see if there's a parabolic move going or what could be happening. Let me just check here with the 10. Tends to bounce really hard once it makes it over this 10 EMA. And, you know, that's kind of what's happening right now. Look at the last time we bounced off the 10-day EMA. Here we bounced. It's pretty, not too strong, but it's coming. And you can see as the 200 and the 200 EMA and the 200 MA are basically moving average, an exponential moving average, and one's logarithmic. They're basically bouncing right here off of these two moving averages. So Atom is holding heavy support. It's nice to be up in a trade. Even if you're only up 3%, it's nice to be up in a trade. I'm up in a trade, and I've been talking about Atom over and over again. If you go back to my channel, see, this is a liquid cool mining farm with emergent cooling. So I wanted to talk about that and get into that and just kind of show you that Bitcoin is not killing the environment like they tell you. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff out here too. You notice that. But okay, let's get into the markets now. Let's jump back into Lifer 2 and see what's up with the Dow. The Dow back down 433 points, collapsing ever since its Friday close. The weekend took a hit. People are saying it's the coronavirus. I just want to jump into a tweet here from Peter Schiff. Show you what he's talking about. I doubled that and then I lost it. All right, so we'll just type in Peter Schiff here. Peter's the reason why I got into Bitcoin in the first place, even though he doesn't own a lot of Bitcoin. But, you know, a lot of people want the rich to pay more taxes so the government can... Oh, that's... Okay. The gold bull market continues to climb, a wall of worry. As long-term investors keep buying gold, short-term speculators keep selling gold stocks, betting the rally will fail. Gold investors should not overlook this opportunity to buy the miners before the gold bears capitulate. I think it's a good time to start buying mining stocks. What mining stocks would I buy and what would I be looking into? Okay, I'd buy JNUG immediately, okay? JNUG now is at 78, and you can see at my buy zone here at 67, we're already up $10, 1/6 of basically your, nice 18% move here. And I think we're going to see a lot more moves coming up for gold. This is my time. I've been watching gold for a long time, and it's kind of like, this is my time to shine. This is where gold will have its day. Its day in the sun, for sure. But here we go. We've got our triangle here. So we're seeing here at the top of the trend line, okay? Are we about to break through here? And if we do, where's our target? Always have a plan when you're trading. Trade the plan or you're going to lose the plan. So I guess I already did this. Maybe I had a target here. 105, man. We can go up 22 more. That's a 30% gain. Staring us right in the face. And you could say, no, oh no. But last year we consolidated here at 54. And we boomed up from 54. Last time we touched 54 was November 26th. How many days till we boomed up? December 31st. 1 month. 1 month. Okay? To make 66% gains, guys. 50 all the way to 88. Okay? 66% gains in a month. If you're not happy making 66% in a month, that's why I look at gold. That's why I trade gold. That's why I own physical gold. I keep harping to my friends, family members, and no one will listen to me. I have friends that are multi-millionaires that do not own a bar of gold. I find it flabbergasting. I find it unbelievable. I find it amazing. I do believe I will come on top, very wealthy throughout all of these different times and turns, because I'm able to see things a lot of other people don't see. That's why I'm streaming right now on the channel. Now, another reason I want to get into things is the biggest scam in history. Now, if you don't know who Mike Maloney is, it's where I buy my gold. And I don't get anything from putting out this video. It's not like if you buy gold from him or me, that I'm going to get, a bunch of love or anything like that. But what I do want to do is I talk about my life here in Crypto Lifer. And this is how I got into Bitcoin. I watched this video probably 100 different times at different times in my life, over and over again, until I understood and was able to explain what was happening in the markets.
Don't be alarmed if you don't quite comprehend the deception of this system at first glance. Very few people do. It is purposely complex. The economist John Maynard Keynes once wrote, "By this means, government may secretly and unobserved confiscate the wealth of the people, and not one man in a million will detect the theft." I believe that presented correctly, anyone can understand this system, regardless of how complex it is. So let's do a recap and break it down even
This is
more.
our monetary system right now.
The way the system works is that, step 1, the government creates glorified IOUs. These bonds increase our national debt and put the public.
I think a lot of my subscribers don't even know what a bond is.
Step 2, IOUs are swapped to create currency. The Treasury sells the bonds to the banks. The banks then turn around and sell our national debt at a profit to the Federal Reserve, which they probably own. The Federal Reserve then opens its checkbook that doesn't have a penny in it and buys those IOUs with IOUs that it writes, checks, on a checking account that has a zero balance. Then they give those checks to the banks and currency just springs into existence, and then the whole process repeats. This results in a buildup of bonds at the Federal Reserve and currency at the Treasury, which is really just a supply of numbers. The Treasury then deposits the numbers in the various branches of the government, and we get to step 3. The government spends the numbers on promises, public works, social programs, and war. Then the government employees, contractors, and soldiers deposit their pay into the banks, and we get to step 4.
Please stay with me
where the
here.
banks multiply the numbers by magically inventing more IOUs through fractional reserve lending, where they steal a portion of everyone's deposit and lend it out. That currency gets redeposited, and then a portion is stolen again, and the process repeats over and over, magnifying the currency supply exponentially. Then we work for some of those numbers. Which brings us to step 5, where our numbers are taxed. We pay tax to the IRS, who then turns our numbers over to the Treasury, so the Treasury can pay the principal plus the interest on bonds that were purchased by the Federal Reserve with a check from nothing. Then we get to step 6, the debt ceiling delusion. The system is designed to require ever-increasing levels of debt and will eventually collapse under its own weight because politicians always kick the can down the road. They don't want it to collapse on their watch. And finally, step 7, the secret owners take their cut. The world's largest banks own the Federal Reserve. Those banks make a profit selling our national debt to the Fed. They make a profit when the Fed pays them interest on the reserves held at the Fed, and the Fed pays them a 6% dividend on their ownership of the Fed. This system is fundamentally evil. It funnels wealth from the working population to the government and the banking sector. It is the cause of the artificial booms and busts of modern economies, and it causes great disparity of wealth between the rich and the working class. And it is only possible because we no longer use real money, we use currency. But worst of all, it is a form of enslavement. Bond is the root word of bondage. Whenever a government issues a bond, it is a promise to make us pay tax in the future. Nobody asked you if you wanted to pay tax today for the prosperity we all enjoyed in the last century.
Like my daughter.
Nobody is asking our children if they want to work hard in the future.
My daughter's in debt right now.
For the prosperity we're enjoying.
They'll take money from her.
George Washington once wrote to James Madison, "No generation has the right to contract debts greater than can be paid off during the course of its own existence." By stealing prosperity from tomorrow so we can spend it today, we enslave ourselves and future generations.
Now, if you don't understand the banking system as well, I just want to show you this one. It's just a quick little idea. What happens to you when you go to the bank and what's going on with the money? And what kind of agreement are you making with the bank when you give them your money? You're loaning them your money. You're actually making a loan. Read the fine print. You're giving the bank a loan when you open a savings account.
It's on their books in exchange for a borrower's IOU. These are nothing but numbers that the banks type into their computers. And even though these bank...
We'll start here. Wait, let's go back. Okay.
Now this is where the machine is safely held in trust for you. Deficit spending on public works, social programs, and war.
That's right. Now you have money. You just went to work and now you got a paycheck, all right?
Then deposit their pay in the...
So now you have money and you're going to go to the bank. This is what's going to happen.
Banks. Now this may come as a shock to you, but when you deposit your currency with the bank, you're not actually depositing it into an account to be safely held in trust for you. Instead, you're actually loaning the bank your currency, and within certain legal limits, they can do with it pretty much anything they please. This includes gambling in the stock market and loaning it out, at a profit, of course. Now this is where the machine of currency creation really gets cranking, because this is where something called fractional reserve lending comes into play. Fractional reserve lending is exactly what it says. The banks are allowed to reserve only a fraction of your deposit and loan the rest out. Although reserve ratios may vary, I'm going to use a 10% reserve ratio as our example. If you deposit $100 in your account, the bank can legally take $90 of it and loan it out without telling you. The bank must hold $10 of your deposit in reserve just in case you want some of it. These reserves are called vault cash. But why does your bank account still say you have $100 if the bank has stolen $90 of it? Because the bank left IOUs it created, called bank credit, in its place. Now I know this sounds crazy, but here it is in black and white from the Fed. Commercial banks create checkbook money when they grant a loan simply by adding new deposit dollars in accounts on their books in exchange for a borrower's IOU. These are nothing but numbers that the banks type into their computers. And even though these bank credit IOU numbers are very different from base currency numbers, because they only exist in computers, they are still currency. So now there is $190 in existence.
See, they create
money. Now the
money.
reason people take out loans...
See what's going on? You put $100 into the bank. Now there's $190. So the second you put your money into the bank, you just made them multiply the money supply by almost double what you put in. So you've just lowered your purchasing power the second you've put money into a savings account. You can't see the fractionality of that. It's small. The percentage is so little, but you are adding to your own demise every time you're putting savings into the bank.
From the banks is to buy something. They're going to buy a house.
Does my audience understand this? Please, please, if you do not understand what's going on, let me know. I will sit on the phone with you for an hour. I will tutor you. I will do anything I can in my power to help you understand this.
House or a car or something like that. So the borrower takes the $90 that the bank loaned to him from your account and he pays the seller of the item. But then the seller deposits that currency into his account and his bank loans out 90% of that and leaves bank credit numbers in its place. So now there's $271 in existence. This process repeats and repeats until under a 10% reserve ratio, an initial deposit of just $100 can create up to $1,000 of bank credit, all backed by $100 of vault cash, just 10%. But as I said, reserve ratios vary wildly. On some deposits, it's 10%. On others, it's 3%.
This is different from what they're also doing with the monetary system. They're constantly crushing your value as a human on this earth and what you worked for. It's insane. All right, let's check on the Dow. Is it struggling? What's going on? Down 433. You can see we're at a low of 28435. We never should have went to 29.3. I mean, it's like, again, I don't know if I showed people this, but I've been watching this a lot lately. Okay. I have to put this on the weekly to be able to look at it properly. But I put these lines in here, and what I wanted to show you was this was the dot-com bubble of 2000. Boom. This was the '08 crash. Boom. We are now here this high. I mean, 2000 to 2008, we could only go that high. How come from 2008 to 2020, we went like that? And I'll tell you why. And look at the line that the stock market all the way until this then. We're at the end of our line, people. We're getting to that point of no return. Even weed is killing. All the stocks are going to fall. I took all my money out of equities except for like a very small few little portions. Look at Tesla went parabolic though. Not even a red. Not even a red on the weekly. You could have just rolled this weekly for a month and a half. That's crazy. But focused on gold and the Dow right now. Gold was losing some of its hedge, and now it's kind of coming back. It went as high as 1589, almost going to 1600. I called that. If you can see in my title, I say gold at $2,000 an ounce, and I'm telling you, buy some gold jewelry today or wait for a slight dip because you will not get gold cheaper than this, I don't think, in your lifetime. I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this for a living for 10 years straight. I've been watching the price of gold, maybe longer. I don't understand. It's like I walk around and people do not see what's happening to the money that they work so hard for. It's crazy to me. Look, JNUG and Nugget, both of the plays at 78, I think that's going to be basically pretty close to the bottom there of JNUG. I think if you can get JNUG anywhere between $65 and $72, you're a lucky man. Look at JNUG on the weekly, looking different too. Look at my template. Go to the MACD and volume. This is your MACD, which is the moving average convergence divergence. This is the RSI, relative strength index, showing you basically the momentum of a move. I will do a whole tutorial on these if you want to learn how to use oscillators and indicators if you want to start day trading for a living. I show people my trades. You could follow along to some of my trades. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Please get yourself your own financial advisor. What I say here is for entertainment purposes only. If you're entertained by trading and you want to take my trades, by all means, go ahead. Okay. If you go through my track record and you watch some of my live streams or even the titles of my videos, you'll see and then actually go to the date and say, what if I bought the title of this video that he brought up? And you can see my track record clearly. It's pretty good. Okay. So I also trade the same markets over and over again. I get to know an instrument and I trade it over and over again. I see us breaking out here. This is the gold. The gold looks very similar to the Bitcoin chart, which is interesting. They both have a W here forming. It's pretty interesting what's happening. I mean, Tesla parabolic at 546, but you knew it was going to come down at 596. I think shorting it here was a good move. I would have had a short waiting at 600. If it hit 600, you know it's psychological. It's going to drop down. So I play weed a lot, Canopy Grow Corp. This looks like a consolidation that broke through. So this was a triangle that you were hoping for, a bull move here. you would have drawn this triangle. All the traders would have been looking at it. And they would have said it's either going to go up or down. It's almost a bull flag. You could almost say this is a flag. It's flagging a little bit. But it was like that. And it's supposed to go up and down and up. It broke right through. Look, it went right through its moving averages. You do have the 21 crossing over the 200 here, which was slightly bullish. But if this curves back down and starts heading downwards, we're going to see some downward momentum. We are heading into the oversold area, but we still have a way more to go. So I could see Canopy getting back to 23, 24, bouncing back into this range again, like it did again. Hopefully still forming a higher low than it did here at 18. Maybe I'm just staying out of the equities, man. I think Canopy's a great company. That's my issue. That's what I'm not sure about is I know how to trade gold. I have a good idea of what's going to happen to the stock market and where to hedge myself. Right now, I'm just not sure what's going on. Now, they're blaming the coronavirus on the Dow. This is what Peter Schiff said. While the financial reporters are focusing on the coronavirus to explain the market's decline, they are overlooking the far greater threat of the Sanders virus spreading among the electorate. The sharp rise of Bernie Sanders in the polls should be a far greater concern to investors. Since most investors use the U.S. stock market, since most investors assume the U.S. stock market is healthy, how could you see that as healthy? Look at the stock market similar to a bodybuilder, and look at these parabolic moves in the Dow similar to how someone makes gains at the gym. Okay, last week he was able to put, in a month he gained, he went from 190 to 205 pounds. He gained 10 pounds of muscle. But then out of nowhere, he gained 200 pounds of muscle in the same amount of period that it took him to gain 100 pounds of muscle years ago. He must be on steroids. And if he's on steroids, he's probably going to pop at one point. That's just a metaphor I'm making, and to me, it's pretty obvious that the market is not healthy. But I guess I'm a genius. I don't know. It's obvious to me. How come other people I know do not see it? Since most investors assume the U.S. stock market is healthy, they attribute this morning's decline to the coronavirus. But since the market is actually very sick, the virus is the excuse, not the cause of the sell-off. This misdiagnosis could be fatal to an investor's portfolio. I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him. I follow Ron Paul. I didn't know I didn't follow him. Follow him up. Quoth the Raven. What I also did here is I look up the repo market here, and there's a lot going on. The SOFR, the rate the Fed hopes will replace LIBOR, is finally gaining traction in derivatives markets and adds additional color to why the Fed has to rescue the overnight repo market. There's a lot of stuff going on here with the Federal Reserve, guys. Federal Reserve's repo market fix is no fix at all. And this is Bloomberg. I'm not even going into crazy, zero hedge or some strange news here. This is the real news. I just don't think people want to hear it. They don't want to know that there's fear, demise, and blood in the streets. And I'm not a fearmonger. I'm actually a positive guy trying to create a different path for most people that don't know a way out. With their best intentions in mind, central banks and governments have instituted rules to ensure that financial institutions have enough liquidity to withstand another crisis. But liquidity coverage ratios, high-quality liquidity asset rules, Basel III compliance, global systematically important bank charges, and soon-to-be implemented net stable funding ratios have made supplying the all-important repo market's needs so Byzantine that no one really knows what exactly is required, least of all the Federal Reserve. The Fed understood these new rules posed an uncertainty risk, which is why they regularly surveyed and consulted primary dealers for feedback. And yet, with no real experience with these new rules, everyone was essentially guessing. Add massive issuance of U.S. Treasury securities to meet trillion-dollar budget deficits by mid-September. The all-important repo market broke, unable to handle ever-increasing demand. The simple fix is to roll back the regulations. They're saying the banks weren't allowed. It was just regulations that made the banks. They said they had the money, they just couldn't use it. But that's also going to change because then they'll have less liquidity backing up their original loans. You see what I'm saying? It's not good any way you look at it. That was quickly followed by a letter from the president candidate Elizabeth Warren, who warned him that these rules were designed to ensure that the banks have enough cash on hand to meet their obligations. See what I just said? In the event of another market crash. And the banks are reporting profits at record levels, and it would be painfully ironic if unexplained chaos in a small corner of the banking market became an excuse to further loosen rules that protect the economy from these types of risk. Warren was not alone. Former Fed Vice Chairman Alan Blinder and former Fed Deposit Insurance Corp head Sheila Bair also warned that the rules should remain in place. Instead, the Fed intervened in the repo market by doing what it does best, buying a problem with more money until it goes away. Now remember, the Fed has a zero balance sheet. It's not like they worked for the money, like they dug a hole and there's some actual sweat equity behind that. They have no money. When they write a check, they're just pouring money back into the system. Let's go back. Gold is expensive. Why is gold expensive? Why are these two necklaces worth money? Because gold has to be mined and it's hard to get. If an alien ship came and dropped tons and thousands and hundreds and thousands of ounces of gold on top of us right now, these would be worthless. That's what's happening to the American dollar. It's very simple. I don't understand why people don't buy Bitcoin. There's 3 million left. There's 7 million people, 7 billion people. Bitcoin will become so scarce. It will become the scarcest asset in the world. It can be used. I can keep $1 million in my mind and go country to country. That is intrinsic value, my folks. Anyone that doesn't think that's intrinsic value just doesn't think that getting in an Uber helps them. And you're going to say, what are you saying, Sam? You're all over the place. No, I'm not. Check this out. You wait for a taxi cab. You put your hand up. You look for them. A few go by you. You keep waiting. You wait. And how much time went by trying to get a cab, especially in the rain on a nice day? Or how many times you have to go outside, look for the cab, do a bunch of work? Time is wasted in that moment. Now you get Uber. You sit there until the last minute, having one last drink at the bar or talking to whoever you want. Oh, my car's here. You run right outside. You get in. You barely get wet. You waste no time. You move. Okay? That, to me, that's similar to Bitcoin. I can't take $1 million on a plane, but I could remember my seed code and take $1 million in Bitcoin with me, go to a new country, order the Trezor, basically take the seed code that I have in my mind and basically use that to relink myself on a new Trezor. And next thing you know, I have access to $1 million in another country in another place. Fascinating. Saves me time, saves me the scrutiny of governments. A lot of different things are going on right there. And I think it's amazing. So if you don't see that that has intrinsic value, like that in itself has value, like getting in an Uber faster and not wasting time has value. People value their time, okay? Bitcoin now, I value my privacy. Some people pay for privacy, right? You'll pay a little more for privacy. Well, Bitcoin can give you privacy in certain ways. Even though it is a blockchain that can be looked up, at the present moment where you're walking around, no one can see what wealth you have on you. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. What should the Fed do? It already telegraphed it will raise the IOER rate by 5 basis points to 1.60 at the Federal Open Market Committee meeting next week. Presumably, it will also raise the repo offered rate by 5 basis points to 1.6. Policymakers should raise the repo rate even higher. Stand ready to offer liquidity, but at a penalty rate. This won't fix the problem in the repo market. Only rule changes can do that. But at least this will allow the Fed to identify how much supply is needed to get the market back in balance, rather than risking a loss of control of the federal fund rate altogether. The Fed should not be looking to permanently insert itself into the repo market. They already did that. The Fed will never be able to leave the repo market. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if you understand that. And I think gold will not go down again because the Fed will not be able to raise rates. When Fed raises rates, it's a strong dollar. It's bad for gold. I don't see the Fed able to raise rates anymore. At what point can they raise these rates? I don't see it. This is getting serious. If you don't understand how serious this is, and I know I feel like most people just want to have a nice day today. They want to pick up their kids from school. They don't want to hear these things. They don't want to live in the reality of life that we live in. But you know what's horrible is you have to do at least 10 to 20 hours of research to understand our financial system. Then you have to do some more research to understand the Fed repo market. You wouldn't even know about the Fed repo market if you didn't understand what's happening with the Federal Reserve. If I'm going too fast for anyone, if I could slow this down or simplify it, let me know. I just feel like there's more people that need to know this, and I want to get it into their minds and so they can understand what's going on. With all this going on, we want to talk about Lebanon's financial system. It's crumbling. This shows what's going on with Bitcoin. Mass protests in Lebanon, which began as a demonstration over tax proposals, have since escalated into full-blown financial crisis. As such, Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies demonstrate once again the importance of financial sovereignty. Basically being in charge of your own finances. Sovereignty, financial sovereignty. Lebanon has a history of conflict, such as a civil war which saw sectarian violence during the mid-70s. And more recently, it has experienced instability as a result of the problems in Syria. But it was October 2019 when the Lebanese government announced the changes to the taxation of fuel, tobacco, and phone data, and that people of Lebanon took to the streets to call for social and economic reform. Prime Minister Saad Hariri resigned 2 weeks into the protest, and now 3 months in, a new government lead by nonpartisan Prime Minister Hassan Diab has taken the helm. Although this has satisfied calls for a change in leadership, It has done little to quell the problems facing the already troubled country. The country is buckling under a severe liquidity crisis, with informal and irregular capital controls being imposed across its banking sector. Layoffs and salary cuts are rampant. And considering that Lebanon is due to make a vast bond repayment in March and April, the situation looks dire. According to Reuters, $1.3 billion is owed in interest, with an additional $842 repayment due to the principal. As such, Naif Zouk, the lead economist at Oxford Economics, states that Lebanon's new government is running out of space to maneuver. Based on estimates, Zouk believes that the country will have exhausted its reserves by September. With that in mind, as is often the case, its crisis-torn countries, the case for Bitcoin and monetary freedom is further strengthened. Great thread on the unfolding financial crisis in Lebanon. Government is running out of options. Currency is trading at steep discounts in the black market, and bank depositors soon to take a 50% haircut. Wow. The case for Bitcoin. The situation in Lebanon is intensifying by the day. Violent confrontations against capital controls have left cities looking like war zones. Last week saw clashes between security forces and protesters in the financial district of Hamra. They torched waste basins, destroyed ATMs, and smashed the display windows of banks using fire extinguishers, rocks, and metal rods. The protesters were venting their frustrations over imposed capital limitations. And don't think that can't happen here in America. And I'm not spreading FUD. I'm just letting you know. People will get pissed. They're going to simplify this in a way where everyone's going to understand it to the point where they're going to see they're getting robbed. And they're going to get upset. And when they see they're getting robbed, they're going to go like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Right? It's not going to be good, man. It's a bad, Just because it's happening in Lebanon, don't ever say it's not happening to me and I don't need to worry about it. It's not true. As such, the case for alternatives that promote personal sovereignty, such as Bitcoin, really hits home during crisis situations. When Bitcoin, there are no limitations on withdrawal or censorship transactions. They're telling people how much money they can take out of the bank. Like, what if you wanted to buy a motorcycle that day? You worked hard, you had $2,000. They said you could only take $200 out a day. You have to wait 10 days to buy the motorcycle. Why? Why? You worked hard for that money. It's your money. It's your sweat equity. Had you been paid in gold and you held the gold at home, you could probably trade that gold for the motorcycle. You'd be on your way. And every day you probably have to get less gold for more things. It's insane. Bitcoin advocate Gigi highlights the visionary foresight of the cyberpunks who imagined a time in the future when freedom to transact would be critical. It's easy to forget that permissionless and censorship resistant are the most mere buzzwords. Under difficult circumstances, these words would become a matter of life and death. Yeah, forget a motorcycle. What if you need food? What if you need $400 worth of food and you can only buy $200? What now? You know? Historically accurate Bitcoin, this is 2 minutes. Historically accurate Bitcoin price indicator just signals start to a long-term bull market. Get in now, baby. A historically accurate Bitcoin price indicator has just flipped its market bias to bullish after 4 months. Dubbed as the Guppy Multiple Moving Average, or Guppy, the technical indicator identifies changing trends and potential price breakouts by adjoining an asset's long and short-term moving averages. It has long served as a leading barometer for determining Bitcoin's next market sentiment. For instance, when Guppy first turned green in April 2019, the move promoted Bitcoin to register a supersonic price rally when it swelled by 235%. Similarly, when Guppy switched back to red in September 2019, the Bitcoin price fell by plunging 35.8%. The technical indicator acted similarly during Bitcoin's boom and bust between 2017 and 18. It remained green against the cryptocurrency's climb to its all-time high of 2000, but it switched to red on the first signs of a downside correction. Later in December, the price crashed towards 3120. The latest bias. The day Bitcoin established a local top of 9194, its Guppy indicator flipped back to green, showing that the total of 6 short-term MA waves jumped above another 6 long-term MA waves. This move helped confirm a price trend towards the north. Surprised how this flew under the radar, considering this was one of the CT's favorite meme back in 18. It's interesting. For starters, the latest Guppy flip showed weaker trend because of the low gap between its short-term and long-term MAs. It showed that bulls are going through a bias conflict, including a Bitcoin would more or less undergo a period of consolidation. Second, Guppy served as a standalone bullish indicator. Experts believe the traders should use Guppy in conjunction with other price forecasting models to confirm a bias. Unfortunately, some are bearish. A newly formed death cross, for instance, gave an alarming view of the Bitcoin market, showing that the cryptocurrency could fall below 2,500 in the coming sessions. I don't see it, man. Legendary trader Peter Brandt, who correctly predicted Bitcoin's fall to 3,000, also listed 4 bullish factors that could send its prices upwards. At the same time, he maintained that failing to sustain those factors could result in a serious correction. I'm not going to say I know exactly what's going on, but for the short term, I do see us going back over $9,000. Will the Dow recover from this 394 beatdown that it took? Suggesting a sell even on an oscillator here. Let's look at it on a fib. Like, let's pull a fib retracement on the Dow weekly. I'll go to the daily on the Dow since it's so big. But so here we can see a clean bottom. So we're going to draw a fib from this bottom. We're just going to see where we could go on a likely retracement. Normally, stocks retrace what's called 61%, 61.8% actually. And that's why they use the 61.8% Fibonacci level as a nice, what's called golden pocket. See this pocket here? So that could mean that the Dow could return back. And this would be completely healthy to here, to 618, which putting the Dow at 15,000, guys. It's almost cutting it in half. That was worse than these marks here, right? Here's the .com bubble. Dow at 10,048. It's low at 7,000, so that's 30% loss. Here is the '08 crisis, right? Dow at 14,000, down to a low at 6,000. That was a 50% loss. So we actually, if we look at it, and I think it could get worse. I think we'll go further down to $10,000. You're going to see blood in the streets. People are going to be screaming and yelling. Gold is going to go up $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 an ounce if possible. My trades are now up 4.6%. Currently hanging in there. Almost a good time maybe to make a move. You know, I'm in the green. How far do I push it? See what goes on. But it's nice to be in the green. Another thing I see in my indicators is there's Zcash looks like it could be a buy, strong buy. Link Bitcoin looks like a strong buy. Neo USDT looks like a strong buy. XRP XZC. I guess that's an interesting pair you could make. I have yet to trade like alt for alt, you know, unless it's like a pegged coin of some type. But I've yet to trade alt for alt, so it hasn't happened to me recently. Any comments here? Let me just check. See what's going on my own stream. If anyone has a specific question that they want to know about. We went over a lot today. We talked about a lot of different things, so I know it's not easy. We go over a lot of news here, and we cover a lot of different things. What I would be doing, I would be buying JNUG right now, guys. I'll be placing buys in for JNUG. I would also be researching a lot of gold mining stocks. One of the biggest gold mining stocks is literally just GLD, gold stock, you know, GLD. Get a newsletter about this. Yeah, the Spider Gold Trust. Hold on one second. I'm going to go into my email right now for you guys, and I just want to check something. I get an email from what's called the Wealth Research Group. They understand a lot what's going on. So here we go. Wealth Research Group. One second. Yep. Okay, so gold mining, gold in the TSX or GLDLF. Okay, so I think this stock will have huge potential and make you some good money. This is what I'm probably going to be placing a little bit in. This is the only equity I'll probably be owning, not looking into much else. 6 months, it's been climbing slowly. Okay, and I could see this appreciate. It's only $1.13 a share right now. With all the stuff going on right now, this would be a nice hedge for your portfolio. Yeah, this is just something I'm looking at, something I made. When I make the purchase, I'll put it on Twitter. I'll also probably live stream the idea that I take and why I'm taking it, when I'm taking it, and I'll also I'll show you my trading plan. So with that being said, but JNUG now starting to cook. You know, I think it's going to break up. I think this is a nice time to buy JNUG, in my opinion. Let's look at the indicators too, because when you think something that's not the best idea, you got to look at it and see what's really going on, okay? Now, here we have what's called the MACD, the Moving Average Convergence Divergence, and it's telling us that this line's about to cross the red line. You can see it's ending on its, like, these red areas. It's a nice purchase place, actually, because this could curve up, giving you more room on the RSI. It's not oversold, overbought till it gets up into this black area. It has to be above 70. So this is the area where you want to start taking profits or thinking of laddering out. But until then, like, this is a good place to get in JNUG right now. Especially right now, I think we're going to see a $1,700 gold pretty soon. We have the war, we have Iran tensions, we have coronavirus, we have just a slew of things that are going to make it really good for the gold investor. We also have a Dow tanking by 400 points today and more now. You could see it got bought back up here. Let's look at it on the 30-minute. That's going to show you the real decline here. On the 30-minute, we had a buy up. So here, the market opened right here, and then boom, we got sold off. Then people said, oh, that's good price. Let's get in, let's get in, let's get in. And then the rich probably said, you know what? That's the best we're going to do. Tanked it. And then the little retail guys were buying, and now they started selling. They got scared. They got scared. Then they crushed all the retail. They got the Dow back into oversold territory. See right here? Now big boys are going to come back up and scoop up some shares. It's just they know exactly how to play this game. They know exactly what they're doing, and you can see it in the charts. It's pretty clear to me. And the only thing is the liquidity. With a crunch in liquidity, and with the Federal Reserve unable to raise rates, how do we see this go down, man? You know, this is scary business. Let's go back on the daily to my prediction here. So the Dow back down definitely in this area. And that would be, see, that what's scary is that would just be a really healthy retrace. Stocks go down 61% all the time. Like, let me show you Atom. I've been trading Atom back and forth a lot. Just to show you guys, kind of calm you down and like show you what's going on. Okay? Or Bitcoin even. You know, which one do you want to see? It's the beauty of Bitcoin. I think it accelerates what happens in normal markets. Right? So look at Atom's last parabolic run up. It was down. It doesn't show you the whole chart, but let's just say we're sitting here at 390, 350. And Atom went all the way to $7. Okay, highest point it was at was 725. So at 100%. After that 100% gain, what happened to Atom at its highest point of 721? It went all the way back down to 191. Okay, that's more than a 61% loss, guys. Let's see what that loss was. My percentage indicator here. We go all the way down. 72% loss. Okay. I mean, look at the double bottom it formed too. These double bottoms, these W's, great to play. You play the second end of the W. You can see it right here, clean. That's why I played this one. See, you can see the W. It's not as beautiful, but it's there. It's there. And it's far more apparent on the 4 hour. See, there it is right there. W. W. Now, if you look at a W and what you're going for is you take the middle of the W, you bring that to the height of your wings, like basically, you know, this length of the W, this length of the W, and then usually it cleans that height and some. So our prediction here is to 485. 460 is really strong. We haven't seen that in a while. That means this is correlating directly with Bitcoin too. As Bitcoin will gain, you'll see Atom gain. If Bitcoin goes down hard, we're going to see Atom go down hard. I'm thinking of basically laddering out of my trade, maybe even selling 50%. Up today right now, $150 almost, 4.7% on $3,000. So we're doing good on this Atom trade. And if you can look back at my channel. I was watching this guy's face change all day long. It's pretty interesting. But if you look back at my channel and you look at my videos, okay, and you go, should you buy the dip gold, right? XDZ in the buy zone. So right here, I am trading Atom, right? Atom trade. And let's just see videos here. You'll see that, okay, Bitcoin, Atom pumps nicely. You know, a month ago, I watch Atom very closely. I trade it a lot, okay? It's like I watch it kind of like I watch gold. And the reason why I trade Atom, some people would say why, because I found that it's correlated to Bitcoin pretty closely. Atom and Neo tend to move with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up $100, right, you need 800 to get 10%, but this will go up 20 cents. And there, you know, you need 40 to get 10%. So you're already up 5%. Bitcoin, you're only up 1/8 of 8% of 10%, like 1.4%. So basically on the same moves, you're getting more value, you're getting more liquidity. Okay. On the 30-minute, look at this, man. We're erupting here. We're breaking out, clearly breaking out with Atom. We're getting into this 460 range. If we can, I would love to see us break through this range here and make 460 our new bottom. Then I would consider A, laddering in or just laddering out completely. Where am I heading for this trade? Well, if I look at this triangle, right here, which is this line, something like this, okay, and it kind of meets up with my trend line here. And I take the base of this triangle. You always have to have a plan, guys, and it's nice to see it right in front of you. So we're breaking out right now. Sitting us at $5.09, okay? Be a beautiful gain. Trying to poise you guys and get you ready for a 13%. Nice move right there. Call it a day, keep it moving. So you go from there, man. And there's many different things going on, but that's my trade. That's what I'm focused on, okay? I'm stuck on this. Here we had another one that broke out. We're kind of in a similar area, breaking out. Again, the trend is your friend until it's not. On the 6 hour, look at the trend it's in. If you need that trend line, just to show you guys that, I mean, that's a beautiful trend line. Let me readjust. What I do see though about these trend lines is it tends to revisit these trend lines. So what does that mean? Well, this was my other trend line here. Kind of started going off, but what if we make this further trend line and we come back to the trend? We're down at $4 again, but that would be heavy support. That would be a beautiful place to get more Atom. So another reason why maybe getting out of my trade now is a good idea, and then I can worry about Atom at another time. You know, like getting back down. I've already made 5% today. If I made 5% every day, that'd be 150% in a month. So basically would do my job if I could close these trades right now. Up. Will I? Who knows? Sometimes I hold a little longer than I should. I still have the bottle of apple cider vinegar, guys. If I say I probably did it a few times, but I'm really trying not to. If I do say it, I will chug this. It's going to hurt and it tastes disgusting. Now, XRP making moves. A lot going on with XRP now. People talking about this, IPO. It's also in a falling wedge of types. I still think it can break out here and get back to this top of the trend line for an 82% gain, bringing us back to 38 cents. That's what I kind of think could happen here. We have a bit of a cup forming and a handle, which could boom us up at least up to 27 cents. We have higher highs, higher lows. We're creating our first big trend, more confirmed trend in a while. Let's see if we have a breakout or what's going on with XRP. Where do I think it's going to go? First thing I do is I identify some type of pattern or shape. So I believe it was in this. I believe it was something like this. Okay? Which is a falling wedge, which is a 68% chance of a break to the upside. Usually the length of that pole here comes up from the bottom, which puts us nicely at 25.7, almost 26 cents, which could, I think that's almost 7% from where we're at now. 9% gains, 10%, 10.5% gains from today, from right now, if you buy right now. I don't know. It could come bounce off this trend line for a retest in this area here. But let's see where we have support. We got support here. You can see we bounced. We fell through, but we bounced. And we do have resistance. We do have strong support at 21.8 though. It held really strong. It showed to be, that's an SR flip right there. Look at the resistance, busted through, came back to that same line, and it said, no way, not today, baby. We're going to hold you. We're going to hold you down. That's pretty good. The 21-day moving average is curving, so I think it's going to curve back up and turn. You have this nice move here. You even have this cup here on the RSI side, meaning we can get up to the overbought area. We still have a lot of time to get in there. I say we shoot up into this range. So I think XRP is a buy right now. I didn't really pay attention to it. I haven't been looking at it. I think XRP is a buy on a breakout. If it comes back down to this line at 22.5, I would set an alert. I would hit Apple H on my trading view. I would right click on it. I would hit add alert. I would hit create. And if XRP hits this line, I will go to my computer and I may make a trade. And that's how I trade if you're not sure how to trade. I map it out. I plan it out. I see where I'm going to make my hit, make my target. and I stay with that plan. Okay. Bitcoin at 8754. It also is breaking out, doing similar to what XRP did. And our Atom trade at 459, holding steady, up 4.5%. Boom. So we went over the news. We went over the liquidity. We talked about Lebanon. We talked about the repo markets. We talked about gold. Why do I see gold at $2,000 an ounce? Because let's just go to the charts. Let's go to the charts on gold. 1583. Look, it looks similar to Bitcoin. Am I wrong, guys? Look, there's a triangle with a breakout. Let's go to Bitcoin real quick. Or should I'll put them together so you can see it. BTC USD, Bitcoin US dollar. So there's Bitcoin. Look at the triangle. Uptrend, triangle, breakout. Gold, uptrend, triangle, breakout. If these aren't correlated, then I'm not doing my job, right? If you can't see that, what's going on? I mean, it's pretty apparent, right? What about Kung Flung? What is this? What about Kung Flu? Oh, come on, man. Okay, well, you want to talk about the coronavirus a little bit. Well, let's see what's going on, guys. What I do is I go to YouTube to get most of my news. I don't go to the regular news. Kung Flu. I could be considered racist. I don't know if... yeah, if anyone's offended by that comment, I just want you to know that I don't agree with it, and it's not what I want my subscribers and people to talk about. Coronavirus death toll rises to 81 as China extends the holiday. Wow, 81 people now. The number of people killed in China by the new coronavirus has risen to 81, with almost 3,000 confirmed ill. Global effort to contain the coronavirus is not good, man. This is the latest news 5 hours ago.
China's northern neighbour, Mongolia, has closed its borders with the country to cars and pedestrians in a bid to contain the coronavirus. More than 80 people have died since the outbreak started, and there are estimates that nearly 6,000 people have been infected. Around half of those, we believe, have recovered. Let's get the latest live with our correspondent, Robin Brandt, who joins me now from Shanghai. Robin, welcome to you. We just got this news a short time ago about Mongolia closing its border with China. What more do we know?
Yes, so what we're seeing is foreign governments doing two things. Those that neighbour China, certainly to the north, are seeking to stop completely any travel between the countries, and so we're seeing the Mongolian government closing its border. That is a vast border that runs all the way from the West Xinjiang all the way over to the east, far north of Beijing. North Korea, which also borders China in that part of the world, it shut its border several days ago. Other governments are trying to extract some of their people who are living and working in Wuhan. In the last hour or so, the Spanish government has said it will do what it can to try and get 20 or so people, Spanish nationals who are in place there, out. The British government has a similar effort in place. The Americans as well have slightly more advanced plans to remove 200 to 300 people as well. So that's what kind of foreign governments are doing to try to prevent the spread or try to remove their people from Wuhan, which is the epicenter of this outbreak.
And what are the latest figures as far as we understand them from the authorities?
So as of today, I'll just look down at my notebook here, 80 people have died of coronavirus in mainland China, 2,744 confirmed cases, just over 5,500 suspected, and 30,400 or so are being...
I guess because me being a trader, hi, I'm live on Instagram right now. If you want to check me out, I'm live here on Instagram as well as I'm saying hi to people. But if you want to really get into the stream and see the screen sharing, but if not, if you can't get to a computer right now, you're driving, you just want to hear this, or you just want to be a part of it, I am live now on Instagram. I'm actually going to make this a series. We're going to get a little deeper than I usually get. We started here at 10. I'm going to go another 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because there's a lot going on in the markets and it's heating up. We see the Dow tanking in front of my eyes, 468. 458. Could we get down $600 or more? We see a sell-off here on this candle. Here we go back to the 33-minute candle. Oof, it's getting bad, guys. Like, boom, we got bought up, then we got sold back down. Yeah. Wow, we're dropping fast, though, and we are getting into the oversold territory. So at one point, this will have to kind of take a breather. Nothing can keep going down. Nothing can keep going up. That's how the markets work. But, you know, we could wake up tomorrow to horrible news. I mean, black swan events, that's why they call them black swan, is the regular ideas of markets do not coincide. They don't follow those rules, and boom, you just see a horrible drop, and things happen. That's not good. Tesla even taking a bump here today. I mean, there's no stock on the equities market that's not taking a bump. Iantis holding down. Fluent here. Fluent stock. What's going on with Fluent? Wow. So they had this amazing pump. This is a shady move here. I've never seen this 4-hour mark here. See this 4-hour? If we go on this candle to open market close, of course it's covering it. Why is it doing that? That's pretty annoying. It shouldn't be doing that. But anyway, so we opened at 292, or went all the way up to 389, went up $1 in maybe less than an hour, came back down. This is a 4-hour candle, guys, a 30-minute candle. So that means this stock went up $1 in 30 minutes. If that's not market manipulation, I don't know what is. And then if you look at this triangle here, this will break out, though. This has a 32% chance of a break to the upside. This is falling down. See its potential target if it breaks out. You can see maybe a Fluent trade. 325. Possible gains there. 22%. That could be in the cards here. We're getting back down into the oversold territory of Fluent. That was strange, though. See this line here? I've almost never seen a line like that on the RSI in my life. It went from oversold to overbought in a half an hour. Pretty weird. That's market manipulation. Someone was doing something funky. Yeah, but just looking at that stock, because it did something I hadn't seen any stock do in a long time. Pretty weird. Okay, Dow Jones 28556 doing its thing, but it's tanking, man. But it's getting into that oversold area. Unless some black swan events, we should be able to kind of come back into this and kind of mellow out here. Let's also see where we have support and resistance on the Dow. We got some support here, strong support here, strong support here, strong support. So we're kind of in that region at 28,882. No, 28. Yeah, 28,882. But then we just bounced, man. We're down here now, holding this line at 28.5. It is a very strong place. So we'll see. We'll see. But not looking good for the Dow. Not looking good for the U.S. dollar, man. Gold and Bitcoin, baby. Gold and Bitcoin. I mean, today's a day where I'm up. Today's a day where the contrarian plays are starting to make more sense, right? But if you can't see what's happening, if you can't read the writing on the wall, ooh, this is not good. Just news just in. I want to talk about this, man. Bitcoin Gold suffers a 51% attack. Malicious miner double spends $70,000 worth of Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold has seen a malicious miner capture over 50% of its hash rate and use control of the network to double spend over $70,000 through 2 deep blockchain reorganizations. Details of the attack were shared on GitHub, where it was revealed over 7,000 Bitcoin Gold were double spent over the course of 2 days, with the malicious miner reorganizing its blockchain 2 times. The first double spend $19,000 worth of Bitcoin Gold, and then to double spend an additional $53,000. Bitcoin Gold is a cryptocurrency created via a fork of Bitcoin blockchain that uses the Equihash mining algorithm, which lets users mine Bitcoin Gold with their GPUs. Its creators believe that Bitcoin Gold will be more decentralized than Bitcoin, as it allows anyone with a GPU to mine, instead of requiring specialized ASIC miners. In May 2018, it was hit with a 51% attack that saw malicious miners double spend a total of $18 million. At the time, cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex asked BTG to repay it for its losses or face being delisted. Shortly after the attack, the Bitcoin Gold network was set to undergo a hard fork that was set to prevent future 51% attacks. The solution seems to have failed, however, as malicious miners managed to perform a 51% attack on it once again. And guys, don't, like, when you hear stuff like this, you're going to think, oh, that means all cryptocurrencies are vulnerable. No, that means this one was vulnerable. Bitcoin is the fiercest beast in the room. It is the strongest beast in the room. And it really has a lot to do with what's going on in the markets today. It's scarcity and supply and demand. And, you know, Bitcoin has been around forever. There's only 3 million coins left. It has one of the scarcest supplies of all the coins out there, guys. Actually, let me give you an idea of this. If you go to coinmarketcap.com, okay, coinmarketcap.com, and you check it out. Let me wave at these people here on Instagram. What up, what up, what up? How you guys doing? How's everyone feeling today? Thank you guys so much for joining. Buy gold and Bitcoin. Keep it moving. Okay, so look, these are the top 10 right? Top 10 coins. I want to buy the top 10 things. So say you wanted to buy, you went into a market and you were looking as a speculation. Or say you went to an art fair and you went as a speculator to buy art, okay? Similar to how I trade crypto. It was speculation when it all began, okay? You know, you're getting into a new class. You don't know everything about it, but you want to learn. You want to start investing, so you start small. You're looking at Bitcoin, okay? Now, if you look at all these coins, okay, that aren't forks of Bitcoin, Litecoin, circulating supply, 63 million, which isn't bad compared to a lot. Tether, 4 billion, right? A trillion, 4 trillion, right? No, 100 million. Yeah, no, 4 billion. Binance Coin, $155 million, right? Ethereum Classic, 116 million in the total supply. Stellar has got what? 20 billion. 20 billion Stellar. Cardano, 25 billion Cardano, right? So you get what I'm saying? Now look at this. Monero, 17 million. Now Monero has a smaller supply than Bitcoin at 18 million. So just telling you, I'm a huge supporter of Monero. I think everyone should own some Monero, even get yourself a node, get yourself on that. But if you don't, I understand, it is what it is. But hey, I'm a fan of Monero and Dash. Both privacy coins, both have privacy linked in. Awesome coins. But what I'm getting at is, look at all these coins, all the top ones, and supply and demand always comes when you're playing with any number game. And look at Bitcoin at 18 million, and they already mined 17 million. 4 have been lost. There's only 3 million Bitcoins left in existence, guys. Left in existence. Do you understand what that means? I don't think most people do. I'm happy most people don't, because you know what? Like, you see what I see right here? Look. Boom. Boom. It's a giant triangle. So let me do one more Bitcoin analysis for you guys, okay? Bitcoin, USD. If I put it on the weekly, right? Look at the weekly. What do you see, like, from all the things I've shown you guys? I see a wonderful triangle. And I see it's basically what's called a symmetric triangle, which can break either way to the upside or the downside. I play these every day, just on shorter time frames, but this is exactly what I do. And if you shrink time and expand it, and you realize time doesn't exist on a philosophical basis, then I think you get what I'm saying, right? Like, this will happen in time. Okay. That puts Bitcoin at $26,030 if we break out of this triangle and begin to climb. Okay? Just letting you know. We could break down, and that would put Bitcoin at $1,100. Right? What's going on? Why is that saying 12,000? Negatives. Is that negatives? Yeah, I guess it is the negatives. So you can go negative on these charts, negative 30,000. So where the hell? No, 6,000. Okay, so that would put Bitcoin down to zero. I don't see that happen. I just don't see that. That would put Bitcoin down to zero, which I don't see happening, actually. Hey, but you know what? Anything is possible. There could be an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP, and you know what? Maybe the network would die. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would survive out in space. I don't know what's going on, but that's interesting to see. I haven't looked at Bitcoin on that large of a scale inside of a triangle that big, trying to make sense of it. Normally I'm looking at the 4 hour, and my triangles are much smaller and make more sense to what's happening for the, you know, the temporal moments of Bitcoin here. Here's my triangle again. Again, we are in a larger pattern always. You're in a smaller and a larger. It's kind of like the universe. You have to see where you sit in the solar system. Okay. Any news that we didn't go over as well? My trades are better than they were before, but not as good. 4% up now. Kind of dwindling at 458. Okay. Don't listen to all this stuff. It's all a bunch of nonsense. But yeah, the Federal Reserve, man, is caught in a trap. If it tries to escape, all hell breaks loose. And this is MSNBC, man. There's something quite odd about the share market that rises more than 26% over a year, in which world economic growth was the weakest since the financial crisis. That is, however, the U.S. market has done. Basically what happens is you print money, money comes out. All right, let me explain. When you lower the interest rate, no one wants to save because they can't save their money. So if they put money into the stock, into their bank account, they don't get any return for it. So instead, they just want to spend. They want to spend their money and they want to get things for it. I'll get a car, I'll sell that car, right? They think, oh, I'll buy assets and I'll sell these assets over time instead of actually sitting on cash, okay? And because of that, what happens is all the money leaves like bank accounts and people's houses and wallets and goes into the equities market. Now the equities market keeps climbing. People say, what else do I do? It's making way more money than my savings account. So I should put all my money into the stock market because it's making more money than my savings account. I can't make any money saving money anyway. So money starts pouring out of the obvious economy, which is me and your hands and our pockets, and into the stock market. What happens is the stock market goes up as the regular economy looks horrible. And that's what's happening right now. There's something quite odd about a share market that rises 26% over a year where the world economic growth was the weakest since the financial crisis. That is, however, when the U.S. market is done. The Australian market has risen just over 20%, even though the U.S. GDP growth last year was just above 2%. The cessation, temporary or otherwise, of trade hostilities between U.S. and China has helped the outlook for this year, with the International Monetary Fund predicting global growth will rise from last year's 2 to 3.3. A recent Wall Street Journal survey of U.S. economists produced an average forecast for U.S. growth this year by only 1.9%. Expectations of modest growth, however, ought not to be enough to explain why markets are at levels that appear euphoric. The better explanation for why the stock markets have been surging, they're up 3% already this month, lies with the usual suspect. It would appear that it has been the U.S. Federal Reserve's board response to the seizure in the U.S. repo market last September that has driven the share markets to new heights. Since that market that market freeze in mid-September, shouldn't that say freeze? Or that market froze. With rates soaring as liquidity disappeared, the U.S. share market has risen almost 11%. Repo markets prove short-term liquidity also more leveraged than ever. People are more leveraged than they've ever been as well. So the Fed did two things in response to malfunctioning of the repo market. It has continued to inject mass doses of short-term liquidity, providing at least $120 billion overnight and 14-day cash each month in exchange for high-quality collateral through its own repo facilities. It also, moreover, started buying treasury bills at a rate of $60 billion a month. It has done so because it believes that as it reduces the size of its balance sheet by allowing securities it purchased during its 3-year big post-crisis quantitative easing bond and mortgage buying programs, bank reserves, the cash they hold with the Fed have also fallen to levels too low to enable them to lend enough cash into the repo market. The story is slightly more complicated than that because a strand of the explanation for the bank's inability to deploy their reserves is the post-crisis prudential reforms that forced them to hold more high-quality liquidity of their own, leaving fewer of the reserves available for lending. So they're saying that they wouldn't have had a crisis if they were able to spend every single penny that we gave them and not keep any in reserve. Kind of shady, man. During the Fed's quantitative easing or QE programs, its balance sheet expanded from $900 billion, $1.3 trillion, to a peak of $4.5 trillion. The Fed halted that expansion in late 2015 and started shrinking the balance sheet in October of 2017. But now we're right back. Since then, the central bank's treasury purchases have seen the balance sheet growing again. Now it sits at 4.2. I think we're at 4.5. More than any other influence is that massive injection of liquidity from the Fed's buying of treasuries that has underpinned the market's rise. You have to understand is they're buying them at lower rates so that people can make money on the market at higher rates. It's like getting free money and then throwing it into the Dow, knowing that the Dow is going to go up because other people are getting free money and throwing it into the Dow. It's kind of insane, man. I'm happy kind of not to be a part of it. Like to sit in my own little place with my Bitcoin and my gold and just watch the whole world just kind of go insane. Because I've been studying this for 10 years and I've been steadfast on it. And for me not to benefit from my years of putting my nose to the grindstone and doing my research would be horrible. So that's why I need to remain steadfast and remember what I've learned and remember what I know. But looking back, 445, the Dow basically going to take a 400-point hit today, if not more. Gold rising, 1582. Can't believe it. Bought this gold necklace just a month and a half ago, or this one here, and bought this platinum necklace not too long ago either. This gold necklace here basically paid. Gold was $14.73. So I paid $100 less than you could buy it now, and this is more than an ounce of gold. It's like an ounce and a half of gold. So if you think about it, it's basically already gone up $150, $200. And with the craftsmanship and how you buy gold and how they mark it up, yeah, so already made $200 buying this piece of gold. Could sell it back and pay for itself, man. It's just nuts. And that's why I wear gold, just because I enjoy it. It makes me feel good. It actually conducts electricity. It also moves with like your molecules. It's the only metal that adheres to your exact temperature within like seconds of wearing it. It starts to become the exact temperature. Whatever temperature you are, the gold will assume that temperature. It's a spiritual, beautiful thing. Also, wearing silver is important as too. I would like to get some silver up in there. Silver actually has microbial properties that will help you from getting sick. It's very interesting. But yeah, and back on my Atom trade, I would like to see Atom hold at 460. It was nice that we touched it. Back to 459. I look at it on the 15-minute to see what's really going on. So in the 15-minute, we had a high of 458. When we came back down, people liked that price. They bought back up. Then we had a surge again. People liked this price. They bought back down, and they sold down. That's actually good because we're creating a higher low already right off the bat. We're also seeing the 21-day moving average jump high. That could keep moving. When's the last time we've seen the 21-day moving average create that much of a move? Was right here. It began here, and then look what happened. We saw Atom go from 454 all the way up to 539. A nice 25% gain for Atom. Are we there? Are we beginning a 25% gain? We shall see, folks. We shall see. We shall see. Now I can basically move my stops into very low losses, like 1 or 2% of loss, and then I'm basically out of the risk too, which is the beauty of this trade. I love being in a trade that's out of risk. We'll see what happens. That's it for the day. I have a lot going on. Guys, in the next 2 days, I may not be able to stream because I have to travel, and I'm unable where I go to visit my dad, who's not doing so well, is that he does not have Wi-Fi. And I try to use it with my phone, but I don't pay for a hotspot. I try to do different things. I might have to go to a library and just use my laptop. We'll see what happens, but I may not be able to stream tomorrow, and I really apologize. But that's why I follow my Twitter, because what I'll do is if I can't stream, I'll say, hey, unable to stream, but here's where I'm at with my Atom post, right? So let me tweet. On last week, bought 3K USD Atom USDT at 439.9 and 441 in a laddered buy. Two different buys at 2 different days, but be somewhat specific. I'm still holding. So just so you guys know, like I do try to put out what trades I'm in. And that's the only trade I'm in. I'm in that trade and I'm in a Bitcoin trade, as well as my long-term holdings. But I mean, I'm talking about just kind of paying the bills and getting through things. Just let's do a 24 seconds. Just put a counter up. I'm just gonna do 24 seconds right now for Kobe Bryant, because I have a daughter, and losing, if my daughter ever lost me, she'd be alone in this world. I am her best fan. I love her to death. I would do anything for her. I have an ungodly strength and will when it comes to my daughter that I know comes right there when I'm being a father. And any daughter who loses her father, it hurts. So that little baby is not gonna have a dad. And now her wife lost her daughter and her husband. There was also another family. The Antonelli family died. There's more than just Kobe Bryant. Look at the 9 people. There was sisters. I think the Patterson family or something. There was some sisters. There was also the Antonelli family. I believe him, his wife, and his daughter all perished. 9 people. 24 seconds, man, right now. Yo, there it is. 24 seconds for Kobe Bryant. and everyone else on that plane, on that helicopter. I feel absolutely horrible. Looked at my daughter and cried when I found the news. Made me cry, and I'm not afraid to tell you guys that I cried. All right? Real men cry. Bitcoin Gold's still up 3% despite it being hacked, which I find strange, but it's actually in an unbelievable setup right now. On the 50-minute. It does break out of this triangle. We'll be looking at gains upon gains. I wouldn't touch this thing, though, with a 10-foot pole, considering it had a 51% attack. And also, a lot of people realizing that the finance system is changing. If you're not learning about crypto and how to use it and move with it, you're going to be left on the wayside. And then, like, once it becomes everything, you're going to be kind of sitting there and, like, wondering what's going on, you know? Here's an article I want to talk about, and just by watching my stream, you can learn this, but Bitcoin and altcoins surging in contrast to tumbling global markets amid coronavirus. One of the most concerning and substantial pieces of the news in early 2020 came from China. The country saw an outbreak of a new coronavirus in mid-January in the Chinese city of Wuhan. Supposedly originating in a local food market in the city, the virus now spreads over a broader territory, while the number of disease has grown to upwards of 3,000. In a bid to contain the deadly virus, Chinese authorities moved to lock down 3 cities with a combined population of more than 18 million people. Naturally, this took a toll on the country's economy and consequently on global financial and stock markets. On Monday, January 10th, the Financial Times Stock Exchange Index, composed of the 100 largest companies on the London Stock Exchange, lost upwards of 2.25%, down more than 175 basis points. Even though the FTSE 100 is highly internationalized and hence exposed more than most other indexes, analysts expect other markets to take a hit as well. So this is probably maybe written Bitcoin and altcoins surge in response. On the other hand, the cryptocurrency market sees the exact opposite reaction. Bitcoin charts can increase of more than 3.5% at a time of writing, trading at about 8,765. Gonna have to report that. I'll remove it, but I was gonna report it. Someone wrote, what about Fung? I'm not even repeating it. Kung Flu, he wrote. I think that's racist. And I don't think it's right to be saying on like a public forum. So, yeah. I just removed it. And if I get one more like that, I will report it. Because I'm not about hurting anyone's feelings. Bitcoin is about 12%, is up 12%. Bitcoin SV 12.9, EOS gained 11 in the past 24 hours. During this time, Bitcoin's dominance decreased to 65.5, which is the definitive indicator that altcoins are stepping up. It's also worth noting that in less than a day, the entire cryptocurrency gained about 10 billion in terms of market capitalization. And that's another thing, always looking at the market capitalization of crypto. Definitely something you want to get into and check out every day. It can kind of help you if you're going to trade any market really, but specifically the cryptocurrency market, right? So we go to CoinMarketCap, which you have other ones too. Coin Paprika, and there's a lot of other ones people say are better. Mesari is really good. MESSARI, Mesari. But let's look at the market cap, and you can see it on a chart. It charts everything for you. You see it in the last 3 months, what has been going on with the market. So just 3 months ago, we were at $250 million, okay? I go back a year. We peaked in that, we peaked here in June, July there. Went up to $323 billion. And I was like, wow, that's kind of how it all started. And then we came back down and made this kind of low. We load here at 182. I don't think we'll be lower than 182 again. Down to 112. That was crazy at the beginning of 2019 in January. It was like, wow, like this market is. But it has tripled in value since then, and now it's barely still holding a double up and a third, basically a 130% gains from the low of this entire market cap. Now, what you want to do is you look at Bitcoin dominance. What is Bitcoin dominance? A lot of people don't know what Bitcoin dominance is. Bitcoin dominance is basically you have Bitcoin and then have every single other altcoin. It's almost as if it's like Bitcoin is the US dollar, and then when you go into a store, all the altcoins are all the things you can buy. Shirts, t-shirts. That's not the greatest example per how they exist in the economy, but it's a good example of how they're correlated. You can't buy a shirt unless you go get some USD. You can't buy a lot of these altcoins unless you get some Bitcoin to buy the altcoin with. So if we look at Bitcoin dominance, okay, wow, exchange cryptocurrencies are the only things that outperform Bitcoin. That means Binance Coin, and a lot of the exchanges have their own coin, which is really cool. So here's the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. It's been taking a fall, but you can see it's in that beautiful, beautiful triangle. Boom. About to break out. I can see the triangle. Here's the dominance. Now, I remember this day when Bitcoin and Ethereum got so close. This means how much of the entire market of all cryptocurrencies Bitcoin holds. And at its highest point, it held like 83% or more, 95% of the market back in 2013. It's now sitting here at 67, pretty healthy. But when things go on a major run, that was basically in 2017 here in this area. And you can see Bitcoin was around 50%. And that's when we got big moves from the altcoins. The lowest it ever went was June of that year at 40%. And that was actually before the rally. This was the rally right here. Interesting enough, we're crawling back. And I think as we expand, I think Bitcoin dominance could be higher and give us the same result because there's more currencies than there were before. All right. See the total to market cap. This is the market cap of all the cryptocurrencies. And it was sitting at 59 for a long time. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. See, I had it in this falling wedge, and it was channeling. See, I do a lot of research. You can see all my work on all these different assets to help me kind of gain knowledge of where the market's going and what's happening today on a regular basis. I thought we would come back down to that trend line. Thank God we did not. Kind of made a nice cup here, and there's a handle. Boom, cup and handle, guys, on our way. We could see this dominance rise. I see we're in for some altcoin moves coming up. We may have a retrace. We do have strong support here at this 60 billion, right? I think it is. So we'll go from there and we'll see what happens. Like to see it here up at 78. Very strong. Very good. 18 minutes ago, we got stocks tumbling around the world, man. Stocks slumped and bonds rallied as intensified concern over the impact of the deadly coronavirus. The Dow Jones Industrial Average erased its advance for the year. The S&P index slid most in almost 4 months, with tech and energy companies leading the losses. Philadelphia Semiconductor Index tumbled 3.5%. China exposed U.S. names. Wynn Resorts Ltd. and Nvidia Corp plunged more than 4.5%. And airlines sank. European shares, you know, it's be a great time to short the airlines. I mean, only because you know less people are going to fly. Short the airlines, short transportation, buy a medical. Let's look up a medical stock. Like, what do people use? What do they call it? Medical inventory, medical supply. Medical supply company on the stock market. They're going to make money. People are going to be buying masks. I heard masks are short. Medical instruments and supply stocks right here, dude. Top 25. Here we go. Okay. We got Luminex Corp. Okay. They even have dividends here. We have Benton Dixon. We have Utah Medical Products. Utah might be worth looking at. Aeon Corp. Density Corp. So this is what I do, man. This is kind of like, as a contrarian investor, you're looking for really strange places to get in and out of stocks. And sad to say, sometimes it is on someone's whim. Like, I made a lot of money on a trade. I bought this stock that cleaned up disasters. And they got the contract to clean up the disasters for, was that last big hurricane we had? Hugo or something? Not Katrina, but like a year and 2 years ago. And I made a killing on that stock. It was an idea that they were going to get the government contract to clean up the flooding. They did. Their stock went up. It was pretty crazy. Okay. This is interesting. I'm going to take this one right. Utah Medical Products, Inc. UTMD. Okay. UTMD stock. Okay. They're $100 a share, which is a little high for me. But in one day, they've gone up. Oh, they haven't gone up. Oh, what's going on here? They went from 104. They're down 4% already. Is this a viable idea? Something to look at, but this virus is spreading. It's kind of scary. How fast is it spreading? I would like to see it on a chart.
monitored. So that's where the numbers are. The death toll continues to increase, and we had reports in Hainan, which is an island province right down in the south of China today. The latest victim there was an 80-year-old woman. So that shows you the spread of the virus almost completely nationwide.
Robin, as this crisis deepens, there seems to be increasing speculation about how open and honest the Chinese authorities really are being, with a number of people in and outside of China saying, look, we think the real numbers are much higher. What's your sense of how accurate they probably really are?
Well, there is a fog of war, so to speak, on this. There's no doubt when you look at some of the reporting and speak to people here for the SARS outbreak back in 2002, so that's nearly 18 years ago, that it is very different to that. Details of this outbreak emerged in public pretty quickly after the Chinese government at a national level was told about them. I think the issue may have been, what did officials in Wuhan on a provincial and citywide level know, and when did they know it? Because the big concern now, even though the Chinese government is throwing its vast logistical weight behind the medical effort, the supply effort, is that frankly it may just be too late, because in the earlier weeks when officials in Wuhan, around Hubei province, may have known of the beginnings of this outbreak, it may not have been dealt with as seriously, it may not have been conveyed as seriously to national government at that stage.
Okay, Robin Brandt in Shanghai, thank you for the update.
Yeah, so maybe when it was that big, it wasn't too big to tell everybody, and then we didn't have all the resources enough to go after it. It's tough, man. It's tough. Sorry, I flipped the camera there. But yeah, if you want to see this live stream, I'm actually showing this on my YouTube channel. Link in the description up at the top. But that's it for the news today, guys. I almost want to come back on again later on today to show you what's going on. There's so much news, and it's affecting Bitcoin. It's affecting my world. It's affecting gold. A lot is going on here, taking control over this our world and everything we see. XTZ. I say if it comes back down, to buy it in this buy zone at 141. We're still waiting on that. Will it hold this support here at 150? Seems to be, but this is my idea. Let's see if it comes true. I'll make a buy. If it comes into my green box, I'll make a buy. If it does not, I'll leave it alone. All right. What did Tron CEO... Following the tragic death of the U.S. basketball Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter, a helicopter crash. Kobe, was great to have met you in Nitron 2019. Meeting you is one of my life's greatest honor and privilege. I'll forever remember us on stage discussing the future of blockchain. We'll have a moment of silence in your honor during Nitron RIP. Okay, so mentioning where the two had met seems reasonable enough. Reminiscing about the time spent will be fine. Although the phrasing discussing the future of blockchain is perhaps a little off-key, that meeting Bryant was one of son's greatest honor and privilege could be put down to hyperbole or simply a fairly sheltered life. What is he talking about? That was a nice thing to say. Wait to promote your product twice in a memorial posted on. I guess some people say he's using the death to promote. I mean, he did talk to the guy. Maybe he feels horrible. Or maybe he's using the death to promote. I don't know, man. I don't like judging everybody all the time over everything. I don't have enough upset in me to get upset over everything that I see. I just can't. I'm too happy of a guy. I'm too happy-go-lucky, right? The whole economy could be crashing and I'd be smiling. People understand what's wrong with me because I have an inner core that keeps me where I am. And there you go. All right, guys. Winding down. Please follow me at CryptoLifer33. Say what's up. And if you want to know what I'm trading and how I'm trading and what's going on, let me know. Let me know. Where Obama left office, the official unemployment rate was just 4.8%. While today's 3.7% rate is an improvement, it will not take much of an economic downturn to push the official rate above 5% by election day. If that happens and Sanders is the Democratic nominee, he will win. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what he's thinking, right? They're thinking Sanders is going to make this move. Look at this. We're all in London. Meet up tomorrow night. Email London with McAfee. Damn, how does he get to London? He knows where they are. It's so interesting. This is Jacob Canfield, one of my favorite guys to watch. He actually like helped me out a lot too. It's really nice to me. Really nice guy. What he says, a simple look at how I'm hedging currently. Long on Bitcoin, still running from 82, 8300. Laddered entry zone attached is the way I laddered in. Yeah, he showed all his laddered buys in. It was a really nice move. Taking a hedge on the March futures, XBTH2 contracts, covering 75% of my long position. Trading perps on Bybit, futures on BitMEX. He has to explain this. So what you do is you leverage a trade that will basically balance if you lose the bigger trade. I kind of have figured that out, right? You take $1,000, you 10x leverage that, so you have a $10,000 move, and then you put that on while you leverage $10,000. So what will happen if your $10,000 goes up and you make 10K, you'll lose the 1,000 on the leverage move. But if you lose 10, you'll hopefully make the 10 back and you'll break out even from the leverage move, or you get wicked out on both of them, which could happen and just send you really down into the tubes. But which I've seen, you know. Be very careful with how you do this. But yeah, this was 3 minutes ago. So 8,800 is a key level here. I'm going to take a hedge out on March contracts on BitMEX to cover 75 of my long position. I'll be net long from our 8,200 entry, but we'll keep a tight stop in case of a break of 8,800. Target will be around Adam and Eve neckline break. I'll maintain the updated stop on the website, so if we head down, I'll at least have my hedge running. This is assuming you have a long open still. I don't feel comfortable shorting with high leverage or being net short until I actually see the reaction I'm looking for. He's a great trader, man. Does it for a living, and he's damn good at it. Like, I'll do anything just to spend like a couple hours with him. Seriously. You hear me, Jacob? Just a couple hours with you, man, please. I'll show up to Miami. I'll pack a lunch. I don't know. There's got to be something you want that I could bring you, and you know, we could do some type of exchange, or I'll just pay you, man. How about $1,000 for an hour? I think you're worth it. Definitely would take it. Look, he wrote here, see you at the top, 144% to that 618%. Boom. What is he trading here? EOS, BTC, huh? He's really thinking EOS is going to make that pop. I mean, it is down at the 8.8, so it's retraced all the way 88%. Time to make a move. EOS, BTC. It's good to know. It's good to know. That's what he's thinking. See if any other new stuff out there. That was he's talking about his long on Bitcoin. He's kind of similar to me, where I said I bought 22K worth at 728 in January 7th. You know, I didn't ladder in like he did at 8,000, but I'm still holding a nice gain. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see how we play. If you haven't watched my official interview with John McAfee, it was awesome, man. We had a blast. I felt like we really got into the nitty-gritty of things.
The alternative is to continue sitting on that fucking sofa until you become the sofa.
See, he had a lot to talk about. You guys should jump in there. Watch my interview. It's here on Instagram, too. For my people watching on Instagram, you can check out John McAfee's interview. I've put it in my IGTV. So check it out. Jump on in, guys. Don't be scared. And, yeah. Let's go back to the markets one last time before I tune out. And you guys have to tune in on your own. At 28.56, we're still down 420 points. It looks like 420 will be the market unless something crazy happens. We did get down into the oversold area. On the daily, we're not. On the 30-minute, we are. On the 4-hour, we're not yet. On the 12-hour, we're not yet. There's still some downtime that could kind of come for this Dow. I also put my prediction of the Dow going all the way back to around this point here, 15 to 10,000 area. Definitely pass into the 15,000 retracement, which would put us at the 618, which is the golden pocket, which would be completely normal for any stock or instrument. So this is unnormal what has happened already. So with that being said, we'll go from there. And gold, holding 1582. I'd like to see it hold that 1580. And I'd like this to become the new bottom here of this point here, this white line at 1550, 1553. It seemed like we did really consolidate there for a few days. I thought we would go back to underneath 1500. There's a chance we don't, man. With all the volatility of the coronavirus and a lot of things going, these could be black swan events that really push gold up higher. That's just my hypothesis and what I'm thinking after my years of doing these things. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And remember, follow your heart. Buy gold. Buy Bitcoin, man. And if you don't understand why, I put it right here in this video that explains the monetary policy. Just go to Mike Maloney and type in the biggest scam in history of mankind, Hidden Secrets of Money, episode 4. If you guys don't know what's happening with your money, learn. Once you learn, you'll buy Bitcoin. And you realize you're not being speculative at all. You're actually saving your butt. Yeah. But have a wonderful day, guys. Enjoy yourselves. Try not to let all this craziness in the world get to you. Be safe. Love the people that you love. Make sure you're there for them. Tell them that you love them. Kobe Bryant, we did our 24 seconds, and you know, it hit me like a rock when I found out he had passed. Horrible, horrible times. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And just keep being you. And thank you guys so much. Every single subscriber, anyone that watches me, anyone that spends even a second of their time to watch me, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me. Stay strong. Thank you so much.